Good day and welcome to this special edition of Spotlight we're calling GM's Corner, a series of regular short conversations with LMOA's General Manager Steve Hurwitz about what's on his desk and on his mind. Nice to be with you once again, Mr. General Manager. Let's start, if we may, with we're all rather rudely awakened, or many were, in the wee hours of early Monday morning of this week with this deluge type of thunderstorm. And we find immediately thereafter we have a significant impact on our 350-acre lake. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, it certainly did, Ron, and it was a torrential downpour. We're glad it didn't last even longer because we received about 5.5 inches of rainfall. And that can have an influence on the lake as much as 20 inches or maybe even a little bit more. So fortunately, our police on duty 24/7 at about 4:30 at night opened the valve at the spillway to increase the amount of water flowing out of the lake, even though there's a significant amount of water leaving the lake when it rises through tubes underneath the roadway above the spillway. That was actually, so both those means were in effect to lower the lake, which kept rising, and it got up to 14 inches above the mean level, which means it's time to shut down the lake except to emergency traffic. That all went very well, right according to the plan, but there certainly were other impacts too.
Yeah, I know there are several considerations, because obviously when we open the valve and lower the lake, that's sending a lot more water downstream. You have to literally think about folks in Palmyra and Columbia and the impact that's now coming down even more than the normal Rivanna, which is pretty high at that point, I would imagine.
That's quite right. It's ironic, but yesterday at 10 o'clock we had a long-planned meeting with county emergency response officials about the very same matters, mostly about anything that might happen if the main dam were ever impacted and released water. And what happened is that the amount of water we had leaving the lake and then entering the Rivanna was negligible because the Rivanna was so high already. And so its contribution downstream in Rivanna is important to keep in mind, not only in this case, but if something more severe were to happen. So we went out and checked the Rivanna, and to the eye, it looked like there was no direct impact.
Oh, well, that's good in that regard. So we then, it did certainly on Bodie, first of all, I guess there was a no wake speed, and then realized it was more serious than that.
Yes, indeed, and we're grateful that so many people understand the flag system, and we had the blue and white checkered flags out at 3 locations, and they mean that the lake is closed to all but emergency traffic. That's a call that I have to make, but with the staff, the very knowledgeable staff's advice, it was very easy to do that. So the flags go up at the dam, and at Beach 1 and at Beach 5. And we only had, as far as we could tell, one person in a kayak out, kind of trying to check things. Fortunately, that kayaker got back safely to where they came from. But we would like to remind people, when those checkered flags are up, to stay home, not go out on the water.
And there was something of a sinkhole developed on this.
This is quite serious. A sinkhole that we estimate at about 12 feet deep arose on right next to number 40 Lafayette, where Bernardsburg Road comes into Lafayette. It's a deep sinkhole, again, 12 feet. There were service lines running through it. We cordoned off the area, had Miss Utility come out to identify the lines, and it appears that there was no serious interruption, maybe with the exception of Comcast and a few lines that we use to communicate with the gates. But we're investigating that, and those will be restored. And then after a meeting we had early this morning, we've already got a contractor getting ready to come in and fill the sinkholes so that there's no further damage. And we're looking forward to that starting as early, again, as noon today, in just a few minutes.
All right. Well, that's good. I just want to back up for a moment. A thought occurred. You said that when the storm hit, we know it was really 3 to 4 to 5 a.m., and you said the police on duty handled it, and then obviously things went from there. Does one of these, like the president, you get the call from in the 4 o'clock in the morning, they have to awaken you. You say, Mr. President, you know, we have a problem.
A little less responsibility than the president, but fact of the matter is, depending on what's up, I would get called. In this case, I got an email about 6:30 with an update, and then I was able to go out and take a look and join up. We have an emergency response team consisting of key players: the chief of police, our head of maintenance, myself, and sometimes Judy Fish for her very excellent service to the community of informing everybody. So Judy sometimes participates in person and sometimes not in person, but she's always there. We can get a hold of her anytime. It just so happened that the web page was out, which meant we couldn't do email blasts anyway.
Yeah.
But, so the team got together, we looked at what was underway and determined that the situation was under control, although we still had to lower the level of the lake. In fact, the depth gauge that people see when they're crossing the bridge over the spillway is marked.
Oh.
There's 3 marks. The top mark is the super emergency, you don't want to go there mark, but a red mark, a red slash across the gauge. The next level down is the 14 inches above mean level.
Okay.
And then there's the mean pool level down below that. So we shoot normally to be no more than 2 inches above the mean level. So yesterday in the morning, we had about another 10 inches to go to get it to the level where we wanted. At that point, you take a look at, is there any rainfall imminent? And if there is, let's say, very serious rain coming in at that point, you would have to consider further actions to get ahead of the game, because more water can accumulate in the lake than you can get rid of in a very heavy rain situation. That was not the situation, so we were satisfied that the situation had been addressed. What's also true is that in addition to the sinkhole, there was other damage. People have reported to us about effects on their lots. There were 3, 4, 5 reports that we'll be looking into and addressing in the near future, and we appreciate people letting us know about it.
Well, all right. Well, stay with water, but fortunately something a little more benign. The plans for the new pool, I guess, we're coming to the end of this pool season and coming to the end of this pool, as a matter of fact, because beginning, shortly thereafter, this current pool closes down after Labor Day, we start swinging in toward plan, design, construction, all the rest toward the new pool.
We're very excited. The contract's in place and it's been awarded. And perhaps about a week after the pool closes, the contractor will show up and start work. It's very important to meet the commitment to the community to have the new pool ready for the opening next year. So the only way that can happen is if you get started.
Yeah.
So after the bidding process, and our contracts manager worked with the low bidder to refine the terms and actually lower the price by about $100,000 where it had been at that point. We were ready for the board to approve and enter into the contract. And it was necessary to do that rather quickly, just from the business standpoint. All the arrangements had been made, all of the design was set. So we went ahead and did that. The board had a meeting already scheduled, a work session to get the budget process started, and we tacked that on. Just really a business matter to not wait until the next board meeting, which is in fact this Thursday. So at this stage, saving that number of days and having the contractor alerted and get ready makes a difference. So we're looking forward to it starting soon. We do have something exciting because when the pool closes, it'll be the end of the old pool. We're going to have doggy swim day, and people will be invited to bring their pets in, and you know, most dogs like it. It's really quite a sight, so we're looking forward to that too as a last official event in the old pool.
Okay, all right. So the design is set and all of that?
The design is set. During the contracting process, there were a couple of small changes made with the mechanical room, but the basic design of the pool, the layout and so forth is exactly what has been displayed in a project board as you enter into Ashlawn. So that's exactly the same. There are some operational things that were considered and we'll iron out and fully publicize. People asked us, how about children's swimming? Because the children's swim area isn't separate in this pool, but that's been considered. Also lap swims, how we do that. There was a request from the community to look at some kind of enhancements. There was a suggestion to have 8 lanes. And it turned out that would have taken it out of being truly a community pool. So the board, which is charged with and responsible for making those design decisions, listened carefully to all the suggestions and researched them. So the suggestion to have 8 lanes turned out to be impractical within the cost and the ground where we had to put the pool. In addition, there was a suggestion to put a cover over the pool and operate it 12 months of the year. So the cost of buying that and operating that would have really been beyond our budget. Another decision that was made during the design process, originally the new pool was going to go where the parking lot is. And that turned out to be not desirable at all from an aesthetic standpoint. And the community generally gave feedback to the board that was not desirable. So the board, listening to that, decided to put the new pool exactly where the old pool is, except it's a little bit larger, and to accept the additional cost of $200,000 to do that. So the original estimates of the cost creeped up a little bit, largely because of the board listening to the community on many matters that were doable, and unfortunately with a couple of things that would have been desirable in some people's mind, it was just not possible to accommodate.
As work goes along, how are people going to kind of stay abreast of what's happening and the progress? And obviously winter weather can have a great impact.
Well, the board and the staff are going to be like proud parents. We will have pictures and details of the project as it goes along, as well as the business end. A lot of people are interested in how their money is being spent. We look forward to making that kind of information available, and the business end as it goes along. You know, how much has been spent, how much has been paid, and all that. We think that's definitely valuable information for the people who are interested, as well as photographs, the schedule, and the whole thing. So it'll be like Facebook, with babies, only a little different.
All right. Well, fair enough. Another major development of the last week, basically, not of the happiest of notes, but is the resignation of our Food and Beverage Services Director, Robert White, who apparently was recruited, so I understand, to what he calls his dream job. And he's obviously had a lot of challenges in a startup, and particularly the start of the year. January weather was not very helpful, and staffing issues, which again I gather are very common to restaurants throughout the area, but gradually, you know, seem to have really turned a corner, and you sense now spring, the patio open here at the Bunker Clubhouse, and it's kind of some new momentum going, and well, we're happy for him, I guess, as someone say, happy for him, and sad for us. But so what do we do now, Mr. General Manager?
Well, I wish I could cook. I wish I knew how to
so does your family.
How to run a restaurant. It's absolutely true that what Robert did was to actually start up 2 separate businesses, both Ashlawn and here. A real big challenge, new facility, new menus, new staff, and a history of expectations. So he's done remarkably well, and as you said, working through one thing after another, getting it to a point where I'm comfortable, and I believe the board is too, that as long as we bring in the right person to lead the team, that they'll be able to continue the improvement. We do have a lot of interest in food and beverage in the community, and we're looking forward very much to their ideas and so forth. That previously, when we were just starting up, it was very difficult. Robert had to deal with the basics, as you indicated: staffing, menu, food ordering, schedules. We even found that the Sunday brunch was really a drag on the whole operation. Very difficult to run the Sunday brunch and the pub at the same time, both in startup mode. People had ideas that were very good ideas, and we'll get to the time where putting those kind of ideas into place is important. As far as for Robert, it is his dream job. I think we'll be able to tell people where he's going in the near future. In the meantime, we've turned very seriously to finding a replacement. And we put word out in trade venues and so forth. And I'm very happy to report that we've already received 20 serious applicants. Many of them qualified. And right this morning, we're grading the applications to get started with interviews and bring people in. I think there's likely to be a period while we're still searching and interviewing. And Nikki and Chef, as the next senior people in the operation, will do a great job continuing to run it, because as you know, their heart is in it. Everybody knows Nikki because she's on the front of the house, so to speak, and Chef is in the back, producing fine food, including the best hamburger I've ever had anywhere.
I have to say, this being a restaurant week here in Fluvanna, I can maybe give a shameless plug for Fluvanna Meals on Wheels, because apparently you go out to eat this week, and the dollar of the menu for each person, I guess, gets contributed to Meals on Wheels. But just checking the menus, and Judy had them in her email blast, I was quite impressed with the price fix, the 3-course menu in place over, will be for Friday and Saturday evening over at Ashlawn. It is quite imaginative as far as I can tell, and would be absolutely worthy of pretty much almost any Charlottesville restaurant. So that's all on the plus side. So when some good applicants coming in. Meanwhile, if people, some of the dinner groups have regular meetings at Ashlawn, and anyone else wants to throw a birthday party or something, what should they do in the interim? Whom should they contact?
They should continue to do just as they had before. Call the same number, same contacts. We'll have Robert's emails forwarded until there's someone else in his place, and the phone will be answered, even if it's by message, picking up and then answering. And thanks for the plug on Restaurant Week. We're very proud to be participating in it along with the rest of the county. That's a big goal for us, to continue to be an important part of the county. They're very, every place we go, we're welcome to participate, including Meals on Wheels. I don't know the percentage of the number of Meals on Wheels volunteers who are Lake residents, but it's a very large number. And that's a great program, of course, that benefits Lake residents. Not everybody knows there are a number of Meals on Wheels routes solely in the lake, and that's a very wonderful and important support for folks that need it.
Yeah, it's just historically interesting to note, going back basically the start of Meals on Wheels, well, 10 years now, and there was a small route here in the lake. As I recall, early days there were about 4 people on it, and it has grown to such a position, unfortunately, in terms of need, that it grew so large that route had to be subdivided into 2, and each one of those has, I think, double-digit number of clients on it. So either age, infirmity, combination, obviously. It is certainly serving a lot of lake people, and a lot of lake people volunteer, and so they're helping serving their neighbors. But anyway, and so Restaurant Week, I mentioned Ashlawn, but it does apply here to the pub, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we like to think we compare with the Charlottesville restaurants, but we have better parking.
Yeah, well, that's for sure. Anything else bugging you at the moment?
No, there's an awful lot to do.
Okay.
I would say that for about the past 48 hours, because of the web page being down, it's been difficult to get back to people the way we would like. And in fact, when it comes to the whole pool, there's been so many inputs. People have been considerate and taking their time and relaying their thoughts, that we're looking forward to one big communication describing the whole sequence, responding to people's questions, letting people know where we're going, including the publicity that we'll have. So we'll ask people to have just a little bit of patience. We'll have something out that we think addresses just about everything that's been brought up. And we do appreciate those points when people let us know either a question or something they think we could take a look at that we haven't. Those are appreciated. Over the past 48 hours, it's not been possible to get back to them, even to acknowledge in some cases that they've sent us their thoughts. But we look forward to doing that in a more comprehensive way.
All righty, and we appreciate you spending the time doing this. We have you've been watching the special edition of Spotlight called GM's Corner, conversation with LMOA's General Manager, Steve Hurwitz. We hope you'll tune in for more of these conversations in the weeks ahead, and also check out the full range of broadcast group programming on your favorite Channel 977 or on YouTube. So until next time, on behalf of the LMOA Broadcast Group, I'm Ron Krause saying thanks very much for watching. Take care of yourselves. We'll see you again. So long.